Part 1 of the Birth of Professional Rugby League in Australia. Selections from the Sydney Morning Herald, 1907 to 1908. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. A professional All Blacks team to tour the northern counties of England. 28th of May to the 5th of August 1907. Tuesday, 28th of May 1907. New professional football team. Promoter expelled. Wellington, Monday. A representative of the Wellington Post has been informed on good authority that an all-black team of rugby footballers, which are going home to play the English Northern Union clubs, are not being organised by any speculative syndicate. The players are financing themselves, although they have been offered outside financial assistance if required. It is stated that the prominent representative players invited to join the party have, with few exceptions, consented to make the trip. It is also stated that a public announcement would have been made some time ago, but for the fact that too many players were offering. The team will now probably leave in July. The management committee of the New Zealand Rugby Union tonight expelled and disqualified Baskerville of Wellington, who is understood to be the promoter of the proposed professional tour in England. At a meeting of the Council of the New South Wales Rugby Union last night, the following motion was carried. That this Council convey to the New Zealand Rugby Union its hearty appreciation of the action taken in reference to the suggested visit of a professional team to England, being of the opinion that such action is in the best interests of the game. Friday, 31st May. Professionalism in New Zealand. The proposal to send a New Zealand professional team of footballers to England to play the Northern Union clubs has naturally provoked a good deal of discussion in local rugby circles. The first aspect which strikes the members of the New South Wales Rugby Union is the effect the movement will have on the representative character of the team to come in a few weeks from New Zealand to Australia. If the team for England is to be strong, and it is not much use for them to go as a speculation if not, then they will need to include a number of the leading players, and in this respect it is significant, though of course not conclusive, that in the North Island team to meet the South Island, there are no Auckland players included. Developments in New Zealand will be followed with great interest in Australia. Cable to London. Wellington, New Zealand, Thursday. The New Zealand Rugby Union has decided to cable its representative on the English Union to discountenance the proposal regarding the professionals' visit to England. Saturday, 1st of June. Professionalism in New Zealand. It was cabled that leading footballers in New Zealand were called upon to sign a declaration that their amateur status was in no way jeopardised by the present professional movement before they would be chosen for the North Island versus South Island match. The following is a copy of the declaration. I, of do solemnly and sincerely declare as follows. 1. That I have never asked, received or relied on, promised, direct or implied, to receive any money consideration whatever, actual or prospective, for playing football, or rendering any service to a football organisation. 2. And particularly, that I have not asked, received or relied on any promise, direct or implied, to receive any money consideration whatever, actual or prospective, or to receive any benefit from, nor have I promised or asked to be permitted to take part in any manner whatsoever in a scheme having for its object the sending of a team of rugby footballers from New Zealand to play football against the teams of the Northern Counties Rugby Union of England. And I make this solemn declaration conscientiously believing the same to be true, under and by virtue of the provisions of an Act of the General Assembly of New Zealand, intituled The Justices of the Peace Act, 1882. This will have to be signed before a player's claim to inclusion in the teams is even considered. An undertaking wanted. It was resolved also that each player selected for the North versus South Island match shall be required to give the following undertaking: I, in consideration of the New Zealand Rugby Football Union having selected me to be one of its representatives to take part in the match, North Island versus South Island, on June 3rd, 1907, do hereby promise and agree with the said Union: 1. That I will not form one of the projected team of footballers which is to leave New Zealand to play against the northern counties of England. 2. That I will not enter into any negotiations with any person with a view to my becoming a member of any such team. 3. That I will not actively or passively be a party to, or assist in any way, the promotion of any such team. 4. That if I am approached by any person or persons with a request that I should become a member of any such team, I shall at once notify the said Union of the fact, and advise the said Union of the name of any person or persons so approaching me. 5. That I will, to the best of my ability, assist the said Union in its desire to put down any attempt to induce any footballer in New Zealand to make a breach of the rules as to professionalism as adopted by the Rugby Football Union, and to this end will give the said Union all information bearing on the subject of the said projected tour to England. Saturday, 8th of June. Reception of visiting team. Professionalism. The Queensland team to meet New South Wales today were formally welcomed at noon yesterday in the rooms of the New South Wales Rugby Union, Bligh Street. The chair was occupied by Mr. J. J. Calvert, President of the Union, and he had on his right Mr. F. C. Lee, manager of the visiting team, and Mr. C. J. Wade, Attorney General, on his left. Mr. M. Dorr, the Queensland captain, and Mr. Richard Teese, chairman of the Sydney Cricket Ground Trust. The chairman said that it was with the greatest pleasure that he welcomed the Queensland team, who were not only game but generous foes. He was quite sure that the match on the morrow would be honestly and fairly contested, and he expressed the hope that the better side would win. Speaking of the professional movement in New Zealand, he feared the taint of professionalism and hoped that the two states now represented would set their foot against it. One great advantage rugby had over the association game in England was the absence of professionalism. When it was introduced, there would come the danger of gambling. Applause. Mr. C. G. Wade, Attorney General, was exceedingly pleased to be present to join as the official representative of the state in the welcome to the visitors. The Government felt an active and warm appreciation and interest in all manly sports, and were prepared to give all these games every encouragement. In the present professional movement elsewhere, there was a danger of amateurism being dismantled. One of the banes of football in the old country was the encroachment of professionalism. In the north of England, where professional rugby held sway, the higher aspects of the game were completely lost. With a large amount of money in one pocket, there would probably be a larger amount of blue metal in the other. Laughter. He hoped here the amateur status would always be maintained. We were on the eve of a football carnival. In the matches against Queensland, New Zealand, and the combined Australia against New Zealand, there should be exhibitions of the game which should raise the standard of the game in the colonies. He hoped the weather would clear up, and if so there would be a large and festive gathering, and he hoped the better side would win. The old cry of win, tie or wrangle should be confined to school grounds. It was the men who could play a combined game of football, of working towards a common aim, who went to build up a young country like ours, and in doing so they were increasing the good name of Australia and England wherever they went. Applause. Mr. C. W. Oakes, M.L.A., said that the game had gone ahead by leaps and bounds. He looked forward to the time when, on that historic arena, there would be played possibly matches between Australian teams and England, America and France. There was the mirage of professionalism on the horizon of football, but he was pleased to see that from the men selected for New Zealand it was only a mirage, for the cream of New Zealand football was coming over to Australia. Mr. Richard Teese said that as certainly the oldest Australian footballer present, he was pleased to assist in the welcome to the visitors. He had watched the progress of the game since he had taken part in the formation of the first football club in Sydney 42 years ago. He had seen the game develop, and had noted the extraordinary hold it had upon the public taste, and had seen the enormous attendances. He, however, added a note of warning to footballers to carry on the game in such a way as to make the play interesting. There was too much umpire's whistle, and the game was not open enough. He was surprised to find so much faulty kicking at goal. 11 successive tries were failures, and it was only on the 12th occasion that a goal was kicked. That was not creditable. He referred to the danger of professionalism to this game, which was the only one free from the bane of the pot hunter. The first attempt at professionalism had met with a formidable rebuff. The toast was received with musical honours. Mr. F. C. Lee, the manager of the Queensland team, said that though he had frequently been to Sydney in other capacities, this was his first visit as manager, and that he was particularly pleased to hold the position, for this was the celebration of the silver wedding of the two unions. As Mr. Lee rose to speak, the sun shone brightly, and he accepted that as a happy augury for a fine day for the match. He did not think there was any local danger of professionalism. He paid a high tribute to the memory of Mr. P. M. Lane, who, Mr. Lee said, had been greatly appreciated in Queensland. Cheers. Mr. Dorr, captain, also responded. He said that they had come down to win. Mr. R. A. Arnold proposed the visitors, and in doing so mentioned the fact that there were present Mr. Belson, who was a member of the Reverend Mr. Mullinow's team, Mr. Allen, who had played for Ireland versus Scotland, and Mr. Gordon from Western Australia. Cheers. Mr. Edwards of the Sports Ground responded on behalf of the visitors. Mr. H. D. Wood proposed the toast of the President, to which Mr. J. J. Calvert responded. Saturday, 15th of June. Professional movement in New Zealand. Files to hand from New Zealand state that inquiries made by the Star elicited the fact that the professional football team will visit England and play Northern Counties as originally arranged. The combination will be a strong one, including a large proportion of the All-Black team. The Aucklanders who signed the declaration required by the Rugby Union are understood to have taken legal advice before doing so, and were informed that it would not make them subject to any legal liability in the event of their taking place in the professional tour. 3 or 4 Aucklanders known to be going with the professional team are amongst the foremost players in the colony. Though their names are known, they are at present withheld from publication. The team is due to arrive in England about September the 6th. Thursday, 27th of June. Professional rugby team, Australians to be included. Wellington, Wednesday. The professional rugby team will leave New Zealand for England after the return of the New Zealand representative team from Australia. The professionals include several members of the visiting team. An effort will be made to strengthen the back division from Australia. Friday, 28th of June. Professionalism in rugby football. Will it come? The cabled information from New Zealand published in yesterday's issue has created quite a scare in local football circles. It was stated that the New Zealand team, shortly to leave for Australia, would include some of the All-Black professional combination to visit England and play matches against clubs in the Northern Union. The public were to a certain extent prepared for this by the statement published in the Herald and taken from a New Zealand exchange that legal advice had been obtained to the effect that there was nothing to stop anybody from signing the declaration put before New Zealand players. Still, the information received yesterday did come as a surprise. It was thought that despite that statement, it was hardly likely that the New Zealand Rugby Union would ask for signatures to a declaration which was valueless. Now it is cabled that the team to whose visit Australians have anxiously looked forward will have the taint of professionalism, and this will cause an uncomfortable feeling, to say the least of it, amongst the public and the governing body. A more important statement cabled is that the New Zealanders hope to strengthen their backs by the inclusion of some Sydney players. Upon this matter a prominent member of the New South Wales Rugby Union, and one who has New Zealand's football matters at his fingertips, is of the opinion that there is nothing at all in the statement. In the first place, he thinks it is hardly likely that the All Blacks to visit England will do anything that could question their right to be All Blacks. They are going to England on the reputation gained by the recent All Black team. As far as he knows, no advances have been made to any of the local players. Probably the statement has been made over there with an object. Anyhow, it is a high compliment to New South Wales players to say that their inclusion will strengthen the New Zealand team for England. He is emphatic in his opinion that the New Zealanders would be the last people to attempt it. As to the contract signed in New Zealand, the position taken up by the New Zealand Rugby Union was not at all tenable from a legal point of view. Perhaps the object of sending forth a rumour that some Sydney players would join the team is to cast a stigma amongst the sport-loving public upon the games to be shortly played here. However, it comes with a good deal of surprise that such a report should get about. Another well-known authority remarked that he was told by one of the All Black team on their return from England that within 12 months he would be back in England playing for one of the northern clubs. As to the question of professionalism in football or in any other sport, a great deal has been written and said. Up to the present moment it has been unknown in football in Australasia. There have been statements that players have received money, but they have not been substantiated. The majority of the members of the two rugby governing bodies are determined to use every effort to stamp out any sign of professionalism in Sydney, and the same feeling exists in Queensland. The wish is probably father to the thought that professionalism will not, at any rate for some years, take root here, but it may be found before many years, perhaps months, have passed by, that severe action is necessary. Perhaps in a few years we shall find amateurs and professionals playing side by side in football teams, just as they do at cricket and at golf. There are some games in which the professional has raised the standard of the game, notably in the two branches of sport mentioned, and there are some who take a prominent part in local football who see that the professional is bound to come. Saturday, 29th of June. Professionalism in Rugby. Wellington, New Zealand, Friday. Mr. Baskerville, Secretary of the New Zealand professional team, has stated that there is no truth in the rumour that George Smith of Auckland, the All Black three-quarter, has been offered the captaincy of the professional team to visit England. He also denied the report that Australia was being looked to for backs. More good New Zealand backs than are required have offered, in some cases voluntarily, to go home if finally selected. Wednesday, 17th of July. New Zealand professional team. Wellington, New Zealand, Tuesday. The professional rugby team will leave New Zealand for London direct about the third week in August. Saturday, 20th of July. New Zealand professionals. English tour abandoned. Proposed matches in Australia. Wellington, Friday. It is stated here that the idea of dispatching a New Zealand professional rugby team to England at the end of this month has been dropped on account of the proposals made to the New Zealand professional team from Australia, which may lead to a series of matches being played in the Commonwealth. Private advice has been received in Wellington to the effect that a professional rugby union, designed to affiliate with the English Northern Rugby Union, is being formed in Sydney. Mr. Baskerville, the On-Secretary of the New Zealand Football Club, declines to say more than that he had been cognisant of the fact for some time past. A few Australian enthusiasts have made a proposal to him regarding the New Zealand professional team playing in Sydney on the way to England. Negotiations are still proceeding, and if the guarantees and assurances were satisfactory, no doubt the Australian public would be afforded an opportunity of seeing the All Black professionals play. Tuesday, 23rd July. New Zealand professional team. 54 players offered. The New Zealand Sporting and Dramatic Review of July the 11th says, "The team for the English tour was selected at the end of last week in Wellington. There were 4 selectors, 1 each from Auckland, Wellington, Christchurch and Dunedin. Between 50 and 60 names came up for consideration, and 54 signed agreements were received from players willing to participate in the tour. The team took a considerable time to pick, and amongst others the claims of 4 All Blacks were considered and ultimately passed over. One of the principal qualifications dwelt upon was the general excellence of character of the players willing to go, and a couple of New Zealand's best-known footballers were omitted from the final selection for this reason. Ultimately, 25 of the finest players in the colony were selected. Auckland will be more strongly represented than any other centre, 9 men being included from the northern city. General arrangements. The New Zealand Rugby Union may endeavour to circumvent the crisis by delaying the present team in Australia for an extra week, in the hope of putting a stopper on the departure of the members of the professional team at present playing with the New Zealand representative team on tour. This, however, will not have any serious effect on the professionals, as they will leave Sydney for London direct immediately the present Australian tour is completed. The meeting last week in Wellington drew up a drastic set of rules to ensure the thorough well-behaviour of the team when at home. The financial aspect. The contention that the tour will not be a financial success is a mere bogey. Besides the £3,000 deposited to the team's account in London, £1,300 will be subscribed by members of the team, each man putting in £50. In 1 or 2 cases that amount, which is looked upon as a guarantee, was not forthcoming, but others have placed double that sum to their credit, and the selection committee which met in Wellington last week had close on the full amount, £1,300, at their disposal. The 25 members of the team share alike in the profits, and take 70% of the proceeds of every match. A management committee will be appointed by the players to look after all the inner workings. It is evident that when a single club in the Northern Union was able to average £750 per match in gate money for its last 10 matches, there is not much need for anxiety on the part of the professionals as to the monetary success of their venture. The first match. The team leaves next month, immediately after the completion of the Australian tour. The first match will be played on October the 6th, and though the programme of matches has not yet been received, 27 matches will be played. The team will be known as the New Zealand football team. Friday, 2nd of August. Professional team, 160 applicants. Matches in Australia. Wellington, New Zealand, Thursday. The professional rugby team will play a match in Paris on the way to England. An invitation has also been accepted to play at California on the return journey. 160 applications were received for places in the team. The selected members will assemble in Sydney, where 3 matches will be played, followed probably by others in Melbourne and Adelaide. Mr. J.C. Gleeson, of Napier, has been appointed playing manager. Monday the 5th of August. Professional rugby. The fact that the agricultural ground has been engaged for 3 matches against the New Zealand professional team shortly to visit England was on Saturday discussed in those places where rugby contests were played. Everyone was asking everyone what sort of a team would be got together to meet the professional team. Judging by the applications which were received by the promoters in New Zealand, and the fact that several members of the All Blacks team now here are going to join the combination for England as soon as the closing engagement is played next Saturday, the promoters do not anticipate much difficulty in getting together here 3 teams to take part in wind-raising matches. There is a lot of difference, however, between players boldly announcing themselves as members of the team for England and in forming combinations to meet in 2 or 3 engagements. The prospect of a division of the gate may induce a few of our leading players to break through their amateur status, though such division would be almost for a certainty on the small side. There has been, however, a greater power of persuasion at work. New South Welshmen have been led to believe that if they play against the professionals and show good enough form, they will have a chance of inclusion in the 25 who visit England. Still, the title of the combination is the New Zealand football team, and it seems hardly feasible that the representative character of the side would be departed from to any marked extent. The air is full of rumours, and though some of them are bound to be correct, there is not much likelihood of anything tangible being known until after the final test match. On the strength of remarks dropped by officials in high authority, there is a feeling amongst a number of our players strongly in favour of professionalism, and it is only necessary for some guiding spirit to take up the matter for quite a large number of our present players to follow the lead. Another whose advice has been for long respected in the councils of the game fails to see why any harm must necessarily follow in the wake of such a movement. It is a big question, and is one that will cause a great deal of heart-burning before it is settled. As to what shape that settlement will take is at present a matter of speculation. Supporters of professionalism ask why should we not have the amateur and the professional appearing together for the one side. They contend that there should be no reason why a governing body should not have control over him who plays for simple amusement and, at the same time, over him who accepts a fee. The local unions will, of course, work tooth and nail against the introduction of the professional. If he ever did become an established fact, under the control of the New South Wales Rugby Union, it would mean, of course, the cutting of the thread which binds the New South Wales daughter to the English parent. Indeed, there is no knowing what it would mean in the world's rugby. Mr. J. Giltinan, a gentleman well known in another branch of sport, is, it is understood, taking an active part in making the arrangements for the matches, and, if rumours speak truly, some success has been met with in regard to one or two captains of first-grade teams. Mr. Giltinan has officiated as a cricket umpire in representative matches. Messenger's inclusion denied. Brisbane, Sunday. There was a widely circulated rumour in Brisbane on Saturday that Messenger, the brilliant New South Wales three-quarter, had been invited and had accepted an invitation to join the professional rugby team which is about to leave New Zealand for England to play a series of matches there against clubs playing under the rules and auspices of the Northern Union. Messenger was interviewed tonight, and the rumour brought under his notice. "There is nothing in it as far as I'm concerned," said Messenger. "I have had no communication with or from the organisers of the team. The rumour that I have joined the team is untrue, and you may contradict it flatly." Asked as to the attitude of the New South Wales players, Messenger said that as far as he knew, none of them had been approached with a view to inducing them to take part in the professional venture. Even amongst the All Blacks who were in Brisbane for the past 10 days or more, he understood there was no definite knowledge of the names of the New Zealand players who had been chosen to join the team. End of Part 1.